Good evening and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am DM Bloodworth, and as you can see, this is a continuation of a series of videos that I'm doing for RPG A Day 2022. This is day 3, and the prompt for today was, when were you first introduced to RPGs? So I'm not exactly sure whether it was 1977 or possibly very early 1978. So I was either 10 or 11 years old. I'm not sure which set of our dungeon master Shayana, he he introduced us to the game. I remember being at his home myself, and I think there was just two of us, or possibly three of us, together at his house, and he introduced us to the role playing game. We used to go to his house and play on his Apple IIc, playing computer games and such, and there was that dragon adventure that was on, that was like the dragon looked like a chicken, and very, very difficult game to actually play. We used to play that, and we used to play a number of computer games. He was the one kid that in our group of friends that had a computer at home. And we had things like Atari, whenever that was at the time. I don't even think the 2600 was out yet. So we had early editions of console game systems, but he's the one that introduced us to Dungeons and Dragons. And like I said, I don't remember if it was the Holmes edition. He might have even had White Box. I just don't remember. I probably Holmes edition though. Now, the first box set that I owned, the first time that I actually purchased Dungeons and Dragons or any RPG, was the Moldvay box set. So this is the one that I owned first, and it was a big, it was a big thing for me to. It was like, hey, you know what? I went out and I bought this, and I believe at the time it was like $10 or something like that, and I bought it with money that I earned mowing lawns and just doing household like chores and stuff like that. Got a small allowance when I was a kid from my father, but mowing lawns, I used to mow lawns for like a youth program with our local church, and I used to go out and I used to make $10 $10 a week, I think it was, mowing like several lawns, like a lawn every day. So it was like $2 a day, 10 hours a week, $10 a week. And this was the first box set that I bought. Now, if you're not familiar with this, and this one here, I obviously replaced. I bought it, just a couple of years ago, because my original, I have no idea what happened to it. But you'll know Moldvay from the fact that the book comes with the 3-hole punch. So that is this particular set. And again, I bought this one. I want to say probably around 1980ish or so. Originally around 1980 or so. This actual set actually has the dice, the crayon, the original crayon. I don't know if it has all of the dice. I only see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 die here. I don't know if there was a D20 at the time, or it just doesn't have it. So that was the one thing I don't have for this set. Although I have the originals of all the other dice there. I'm missing the D20, and I don't again recall what was there originally. So, yeah, my tabletop experience, tabletop RPG experience, began with Dungeons and Dragons in 1977 or very early 1978. So at age 10 or possibly 11 years old. And it was, it was an important thing for me because when I was in elementary school, I tended to be I was a good reader as far as comprehension was concerned, but I was very slow. I did not go through the reading materials very quickly, and so I had a reading teacher when I was in the fifth going into the sixth grade, and around the same time, I by the seventh grade, I started reading a lot of fantasy, and that was based on my love for Dungeons and Dragons, and I discovered Robert E. Howard, and I discovered Lord of the Rings, and I'll never forget during summer school. Like I said, I was a struggling student. During summer school, when we went on vacation just before summer school started, I brought I brought The Hobbit and all three books of the Lord of the Rings trilogy with me. And during the span of that week on vacation, I read all four novels. So I read something like, you know, 1,600 or nearly 1,600 pages in a week. Just couldn't put the books down. And that probably has a lot to do with the fact that, Dungeons and Dragons really did spur me on to becoming a much more prolific reader than that I probably would have if I wasn't introduced to tabletop role playing games. And as I grew a little bit older and started getting into other role playing games, so Robert E. Howard, reading his stuff, became a huge fan of Conan. Started buying up all the comics, especially the Savage Swords. And then, H.P. Lovecraft came along, reading his stuff. And then Call of Cthulhu came out and started playing that as well. And it was almost like every single role playing game that came out came along with something, some kind of reading material to go along with it, some connection to literature, and really incredible authors came along with that. So both fantasy and sci-fi all came out, for me at least, from Dungeons and Dragons, and this is where I started off with my first owned tabletop role playing game. So hey, if you want to leave a comment in the section talking about your first entry into the hobby, and in particular the first game that you played, please feel free to leave those in there. If you're also doing videos, feel free to. Sometimes links get picked up by the algorithm of YouTube as spam, so and they disappear without, I'm not deleting content. So if you leave a comment in there with a link, just be aware that links sometimes trigger an automatic removal because they come up as spam. So just leave the name of your YouTube channel if you're also doing this here, and I will find you that way rather than you linking into the comments section. So once again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Look forward to seeing some of yours on the same topic. And as I've mentioned in some previous videos along this line, I'm videoing all of these really Sunday evening because I'm going to be very, very busy next week starting on August 1st. So each of these are going to drop daily. I'll plan on them dropping around 7 p.m. every day for the next week or so. And then once I get to Friday or the weekend, I'll have time to start doing some fresh ones. So yeah, I'm not wearing the same clothes for the next 4 days. I'm just doing all these videos in one sitting. So once again, thanks for joining. I hope you like this video, and stay tuned for at least the next two that will be dropping between now and Friday. Take care.